afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast from your host, Imperial Dane, Master Propaganda, Hero of Sight, Defender of the Fatherland. We're off here to exciting 1 vs 1 on Crossroads. Within the south, we got CharlieTango fighting for the Oberkommando Germany, Deutschland, taking on the role here of the Feldherrn Panzergrenadier Division. Versus the north, we got Dots here, which is basically what they call any player if I can't actually read what it says, because I can't read Korean, Chinese, Japanese, or any other, script that is, bloody Latin. So just a quick heads up, because for some reason people are confused. I can't read Korean, which honestly confuses me. So anyways, we got here fighting for the Soviet Union, Dots with the 2nd Guards Mechanized Corps. We're looking here at Elite Armored Special Operations, Scavenge, and Lend-Lease Defensive with counterattack tactics. Also big thanks to Edward and to René, not René Artois, for donating and supporting the Propagandacast through their valiant financial efforts. So big thanks to both of you. You are what allows me to keep doing this on a daily basis. Most appreciated. Onwards to the front, of course, we got Scavenge here for CharlieTango with infantry, and of course Jaeger Bullets is supporting that with just all infantry for Dots. By the way, he is going for penal troopers, but he's firstly got a country corps, which does mean he sort of isn't too falling behind there if he goes for the penal troopers, but at the same time he can fight with rather than just if he went for double engineers. So there's a slight balancing act there, and that seems to be sort of what Dots aiming for there. CharlieTango hitting the east heart with Sturmpioniere Kubelwagen, while a lone Volksgrenadier squad has been dispatched on a far western trek across the wheat fields. Well, fields there. Who knows what they might have been covered in. Probably not bananas, obviously, but could be barley. Oats. Anyways, Kubelwagen with Sturmpanzer pursuing the engineers. CharlieTango setting in aggressively for the fatherland. Engineers, they can't really find them. They can most grab the point, but even that's going to be in a short-lived thing there. We got a scout car following up there for Dots. Pretty good choice there versus any sort of Oberkommando versus start. The M3A1 can usually sort of do a lot of damage to that if it is well handled and just give you a lot of mobility. By the way, noting there, sandbags to help defend the western fuel point against any harassment. Well, specifically if he's actually there. Obviously, the sandbags themselves can't threaten the German infantry. Ach, mein Gott, they have laid down sandbags and it's so shoddy work. I can't do this. I have to go somewhere else and have myself a schnapps to calm my nerves. Ach, mein God, I mean, that's not how it's going to work. So moving up, they're grabbing points. Kubelwagen securing rear territories. That's one area where it sort of excels quite nicely and certainly will be more better suited for it once the nerves hit. They got scout cutter engineers in it. Enough is not getting as close as possible just to increase the damage stand and also more importantly negate the cover of the plough there they're sort of hiding behind. Still, the Sturmpioneers are riddled with bullets there by the M3A1 with its 50 cal machine gun there mounted on the front. The M3A1 was one of many vehicles supplied by Lend-Lease to the Russians. They also received a lot of Stuart light tanks and also the M3 Grant, or was it the M3 Lee? I can't remember. I think the Grant was the British version, but basically a lot of M3 Lees were supplied to the Russians as well, though they weren't particularly keen on it. They called it a grave for 5 brothers, and again, if you refer something to as a grave, it's not good. More penals are arriving there for Dots. CharlieTango trying to fortify the center so to make it harder there for Dots to sort of deal with him. Though for some reason he's charging in the scout car with absolutely nothing in it. That's definitely not good. It's not a light tank. Though it seems like he's getting a bit overconfident. There you go. Quickly punished here by CharlieTango like Kedenaffer. I mean, I can sort of see what he wanted to do there, but generally wants some infantry to sort of just maximize damage. And also Gen 1 to be careful about just placing it, where thick fights can be thickest. That's, I would say, not making the full best utilization of the M3A1. Better off sort of drawing about on the edges there, trying to look for isolated infantry to the sort of that way deal. There you go, big push going up here. Counts gets penal troopers, single Volksgrenadier squad here, basically tying up a lot of manpower alongside the Kubelwagen. That's actually not too bad for CharlieTango. I mean, this is troops that have been hitting him across the rest of the map, and that way making things harder for CharlieTango. And instead, he's just trying to whittle down the Volksgrenadier squad inside the house, buying CharlieTango more time to bring up reinforcements. That way, slowly skew the engagement against Dots. I mean, overall, this is not a good engagement for Dots. I can see what he wants to do. He wants the center, but overall, the way he's progressing about it is rather to the advantage of CharlieTango. They got flamethrowers though for Dots' engineers there. First there forced away. Very low on health. Jump on the pro trying to occupy next. He's probably trying to bait him into then rushing across the street and then get into the house and then riddle him with a assault rifle fire. Third Pimpson's got there running for Dots. He's also slightly moving about the east side. They could, well, he can't lay down any mine because there's no resources for it. Meanwhile, we got tech up there for CharlieTango, Mechanized Regiment, very common. in particular versus the Sods, it's certainly more of a feature because the Sods, to an extent in the early game, don't necessarily have the best responses to a fast look. So a lot of what Commanders plays is sort of taking that role, and that could probably be one of the bigger disadvantages once they actually nerf the penal troopers a bit there. It'd be a bit harder, well, not a lot harder, but a bit harder for the Russians to sort of counter it. But you can see Dots is already expecting, as he's actually going for anti-tank rifles already there on his penal troopers there, the PTRS-41. Cool on that, and then there's the PTRS, who didn't actually fire at it, which is actually the benefit there of CharlieTango. Might actually have a chance of losing it, but yeah, now it's taking hits, but again, had he not just immediately taken shots at, he probably could have gotten a few more extra shots in there before the Cooper Wagner escapes. Almost got out there, but he does escape. Panthers, more penalties arriving, got a looks on the way there for CharlieTango, and the Feldherrn Panzergrenadier Division. No doctrine for Dots as of yet. By the way, we got Sturmgewehrs up there on the Volksgrenadiers, increasing our firepower at pretty much all ranges. By the way, the two assault rifles basically aren't much better than just two otherwise regular rifles in that regard. When it comes to the assault rifle package, it's very much a universal upgrade for the Volksgrenadiers. It doesn't decrease the DPS at any range. Long, mid, short, basically get better at all ranges, which might actually be a bit of an issue with the assault rifle. It probably should be dropping off a bit at long range, to be honest. But that's enough about that. Folks, they're being pushing back the Strafniki, more moving in there. Also a bit of movement here in the west for the conscript squads, very good. Take out for Dots up north there. You'll probably go for a T-70, so that way try and counter looks, but now strikes with the full fury. It's 2cm auto cannon and its coaxial machine gun. Pummeling the entire field there with heavy auto cannon fire. Forcing complete rout there for Dots men. Takeover there still happening, but he can soon go for a T-70. One thing Dots could consider maybe some mines in there to maybe try and catch the looks. A Doctor certainly also wouldn't be a bad idea there for him. Okay, now they're being pulled forwards by CharlieTango. Got the Sturmpioneer striking here from the west. Where the conscript trying to build up, but in this case they're taking a lot more fire there from the Germans. Got a mine there though, not bad, not bad. Hopefully not spotted, or it's going to be of less use. And we got a big penal trooper squad pushed down there. He's equipping a lot of them with anti-tank rifles. He's really concerned about that looks. He really wants to lock it down. But of course at the same time it makes them weaker to infantry, so it's a bit of a, you know, thing he needs to be a tad careful about. But we got the T-7 light tank there on the way for Dots and the 2nd Guards Mechanized Corps, who has always yet to again choose a doctrine. Sturmpioneers being dispatched westward. We can see the CharlieTango finally there, feeling the pressure's relieving off of him, so he can begin actually pushing across the rest of the map there. I mean, his forces are always a bit light, in particular in terms of infantry, which is rather where Dots has the advantage. He does have a lot more infantry, again, in the way he utilises it. He's not fully utilising the full strength of actually having a lot more infantry than his opponent. Of course, the Lux is going to make that a lot harder, obviously, due to the sheer mobility of it. And there you go, mines being laid down. We got a single conscript squad being moved in to slow that down. That's not going to last long. The T-70 though could do the trick. Then again, he might be more interested in moving that down towards the Lux to counter that. But there you go, MD-35 here for CharlieTango and the Feldherrn Panzergrenadier Division, catching the Russians there in a hailstorm of bullets and high caliber rounds. Sturmpioneers going westwards, got a penal trooper squad they're supporting, that's better. Jaegers out here infiltrating behind from a nearby shed. Appearing there with their scoped T-43s and K98K rifles. Shifting the T-70 quickly away. Then instead of going for the Lux, maybe actually going for the machine gun, wiping away the line the others from Marine, he actually falls back fully. And shift the T-70 towards the west to assist there. Closing in the centre, there's then flame for engineers. The engineers need to be very careful that they're getting low on health there. They almost got the Volksgrenadiers. There you go, teasing straight for the Jaegers. Almost got it fully wiped. Swift pursuit there. With a 45mm cannon. Still no sign of a doctrine for Dots and the 2nd Guards Mechanized Corps. Luke's moving in. He can't directly threaten it, but generally sort of it can sort of contain the T-70, so it can damage it a bit. Healing up there for Dots. And we finally got a doctrine there for Dots. It is Lend-Lease, still one of the most popular SOD doctrines. There has been increasing bit of diversification there between the SODs and what doctrines they utilise. There's a bit of a change there. Seeing more on this and that, but Lend-Lease is still one of the more popular ones around, alongside the defensive. Quickly grabbing as much fuel. They didn't get so much out of this drop though, to be honest, but still it's getting him some, and he's still some time off before he can go for the M4C Sherman to that way really threaten CharlieTango and the Feldherrnhalle. You might want to reposition the machine gun here. I mean, it's rather sort of a bit of an obvious target the way it's sort of currently positioned. Kenworth expecting some of the west. Oh, he's going to send the T-70 ahead. He doesn't know there's a big fat trap there. Mines on my Kedden effort. Fumes are driving there. We go for back the T-70. That's good. Then moves ahead again. Oh, he's trying to pursue and straight into the mine in front of the Kedden. There you go. His T-70 is annihilated in a matter of moments. Mines there proving their worth as always. Completely demolishing Dot's T-70 and thusly relieving a huge pressure there off CharlieTango, who doesn't have to worry about the T-70. Rather unfortunate there for Dots. And there you go. Grenade assault against the penal troopers. Quickly dodging it all, though. Still suffers a bit of damage. Penal troopers being quickly. Oh, need to retreat. Retreat. Oh, he could suffer a loss there as well. Contributing for the other side. He falls. Oh, penal trooper there makes away, saving. Well, potentially rebuilding the squad. And here, German infantry suffering a bit there to the penal troopers. There you go. Quick flank behind with the Jaegers. He's going to have to fall back from here. Overall, not the most stalwartly executed assault there by Dots. My guess is he's wanting to remove the threat from here before doing anything else, but instead just ran straight into a prepared defense there by CharlieTango. At least the one mine CharlieTango, I think, actually laid down. But his Kedden was also expecting a target to happen, so that's some pretty rubbish luck there for Dots. He's now bringing up the S-6M assault gun. M standing for modernised. As for those wondering what kind of modification will happen, basically the back side of the assault gun was made open, but previously had been fully enclosed, but there was not a lot of room for the crew. And secondly, previously in the assault gun, each set of tracks were operated by an independent engine, which turned out to be rather tricky to deal with for a lot of the crews who didn't exactly have a lot of training in the first place. So a lot of engine spaces just ended up burnt out, which was also an issue with a lot of the previous tanks and the likes of the T-34, so they once also suffered a lot of issues that way with transmissions and whatnot. So those were the modifications to the F-6M. Also known as a Suchka, which means a little bitch. Continuing ahead here, a bit on their own. You've got more Jaegers there from CharlieTango. Trying to deal with some harassing Russians on the far east side. Folks, that one's been wiped up. The conscripts. And there we go, actually got one. Bit of a loss there for CharlieTango and the Feldherrnhalle. Mission 6M there. With a bit of damage to the assault gun, but nothing critical. But it does put also Dots a bit closer to the M4C Sherman. That's clearly his end goal here. He's so far having no sort of overt signs towards taking up as his opponent. I got solo fire here from the F-6M, shattering against the house, crashing through the walls and forcing the Jaegers out into the open. And with the house collapsing there, that definitely denies CharlieTango then a strong point to defend this centre from easily. So that's pretty good. They've got a grenade assault on the other house. That'll certainly collapse that one. Oh! That was really close there for Dots. That could have been a wipe there. I mean, that house does not take a lot before it collapses like a house of cards in a storm. You got another engineer squad on the way there for Dots. He's getting against supremely close to the M4C Sherman. CharlieTango meanwhile is taking it out there. Could go for some Panther 4s. Then again, he should be figuring this up against Lend-Lease, which means he might be more interested in at least first going for a Panther, because the Panther 4 can easily find himself outnumbered and destroyed, whereas the Panther can sort of manage the M4C Shermans a bit better under most circumstances. Overall, though, I kind of feel like Dots need to put more pressure on the flanks. I mean, either he should try and push through here into there, but now with the spare Panther quarters, that locks that option down. So he needs to push up through these, but a machine gun there covering it requires a vehicle first, or a very deep flank through here, in which case he needs to sort of get up all the way through there. The question, of course, is he one of those chaps actually capable of performing that? Because a lot of players are not very keen on deep flanks because, for some reason, again, they just don't like the fact it takes a lot of time. Holy moly! Aircraft shot down there. Down one fuel drop for him, and we got an artillery strike called in on the car point as well there, making it harder for Dots to move about, but he nonetheless charges through there, the artillery strike, but he needs to keep moving. The hold still up. Oh! And then he retreats through it. Oh, almost a full wipe there for Dots. That was definitely not the most appropriate set of actions there done by him. Once he hits those M4C Shermans, he can definitely begin laying on some serious pressure on CharlieTango. He can begin very heavily swinging the game into his favour. Of course, what certain players will do once that gets snapped a bit is another really good clip. There you go, Saturday charge off, trying to prevent this jump as we're charging forwards. Flaps the jet, and there you go, another hit from the assault gun on the looks. Sandbags shattered. And Jaeger's creeping up the west side there. Going to hit the point in the west and the east, it seems, with the second Jaeger squad moving up there, close to Veteran 2-2. Second arcade effort for CharlieTango. I think that confirms the Panther plan, that he's bringing up one to tank until he can get out the Panther, because he's very much anticipating M4C Shermans anytime now. He's going to need one to tank to slow down that onslaught of Russian armor that will be hitting him like a sack full of bricks. There you go. As soon as he can, on the very moment he calls in the first M4C Sherman, doesn't have the missions to call in the 50 gun machine gun on top, therefore added anti-infantry damage. But with this, Dots is now getting hit there in the armor race. Quickly going for the Jaegers there with its 76mm gun. Jaegers then engaging his machine gun crew. Penal versus Volksgrenadiers. Quickly pulling back the Sherman to go up towards the center. Probably better off actually trying to flank CharlieTango here instead of trying to go up there where most likely all of the anti-tank guns are going to be aiming at. That seems like a bit of a poor choice there tactically by Dots. Penal versus Jaeger suppressed by the heavy machine gun. And not too far off from the second M4C Sherman, like Kednefer rolling back. And there we go, CharlieTango is indeed going for the Panther, the Panzerkampfwagen 5. Fun fact about the M4C Sherman insert servers, but generally they would replace most of the tanks any sort of guards unit would have had in most cases. T-35s were basically supplanted by M4C Shermans, probably because the Russians figured them better, since they all had better crew survivability as amongst other things, and were also, I believe, more mechanically reliable. There you go, bit of heavy fighting here. Looks being pushed back with the assault gun. Pintle was pushed through the centre. Hard work there on the M4C Sherman. Took a small bit of victory there now thanks to the tank, but he still, I think, needs to employ it a bit more sharply. Meanwhile, though, CharlieTango is about ready to bring up his Panther. Quick move out from the assault gun. Fun fact, there were some engagements where the Germans actually used their Panthers as artillery. Basically, they sort of drove them up on those slopes so they can actually fire sort of more in an arced angle, and thus began firing high explosive rounds down to sort of support any engagement. Much to the surprise of the Russians, by the way. Can't quite remember which book it happened in, but there was definitely a book there was an account of them basically using their Panthers for artillery support. Sherman there with the 50 caliber almost done. And then straight from by Kednefer. Jaeger spotting hit there. Got the Panther setting out there. Pinned him up machine gun also ready. Bit of quiet here between the two sides. More fuel drops for Dots. The centre there. This time next the fuel delivery. Not shot down by fascist anti-aircraft guns. Good Mavania trying to silence the Kennedys. Mikhail doesn't lose the assault gun to the Kednefer though. collapsing in the west centre here as the Germans push forward. Panther up, they're slightly shooting away. They're all there, but note, he's not charging the Panther. In a lot of places when they get a Panther, they just tend to use like some kind of Tiger Ace light. But the thing is, that's not really the Panther. And here we can see sort of CharlieTango making, I think, a much more sensible use of the Panther. Sniping poor Grabowski there with a shot through his back. Second Sherman then mobilising for dots. Bring up more medium armour for him to crush the fascists. Beneath, Russian field. Isn't this American? Нет, it says made in Chicago. Shut up. Pushkin, I'll have you pushing things in the gulag. What's the to prevent it from back to moving into counter there? So basically in this case he's spending 180 munitions just to lay down a blocking barrage. That's definitely some tactical roles there displayed by CharlieTango. You very rarely see anyone use an expensive ability like that used simply for the express purpose of just preventing your opponent from moving in there. So thumbs up for that. I'm not entirely sure that was worth it, but I can certainly see the purpose behind it, and it kind of makes sense. Dotsy, though, might want to consider taking up for an HD5 if he wants to shoot at the Panther from range, because otherwise the Panther has a pretty good chance there of bouncing both assault guns and M4C Shermans at range. I mean, probably they have roughly less than a 50% chance of penetrating the Panther's armor from the front. And so he only gets slow hits virtually too. Sherman moving ahead there. Panther slowly creeping forwards. Overall, though, Dotsy not really, I think, utilising his armoured mark there very efficiently. He's just slowly moving forward, sending, and he knows all the cannon members there, but he's not really doing a lot to specifically counter them. I mean, he could backtick for support them company, go for some mortars, lay down smoke screens. That could be an idea there, but instead he's just sort of the snipe away. They're hoping to catch them and then destroy them that way. Panther taking some hits up from the assault gun. Need to be careful of the Shermans. Almost got a kidney, but that's still going to be have to fall back. Assault gun below Destiny 3. Switching targets to the looks. Setting okay to support and got more infantry moving ahead. Almost got it. Use tracking. Doesn't. Done this there and by dots here. Almost got the Jaegers there though. No, looks like. He didn't get lucky enough there and got wiped. Destroyed by the Shermans. Panther there closing an invention 2 on already. It's going to need some repairs. Quickly back in action for the fatherland. Looks they also need repairs. No upgrades to the mechanized regiment headquarters just for that express purpose. He could go for an Osman, he could go for a Panzer IV. He could go for another Panther as well. In the meanwhile though, Dots is clearly lacking in engineers to repair his armour. He's going to need at least one more engineer squad. Even with the constant repair, I think that could still risk being a bit too slow. CharlieTango and the Feldherrnhalle bringing up a Panzer IV there to support. The Feldherrnhalle being one of the few Panzergrenadier divisions, I believe, that actually received Panthers. Fun side note there. I'll probably receive them here in this case from another unit. Slow movement there, just coming up. And a third Sherman out there for Dots. That is a lot of tanks. Wheel some pretty aggressive attack and do a lot down. For example, just running down here could possibly wipe the machine gun on the spot. You could then sort of quickly pull back and grab the machine gun, but I just open up a sight there, and then he's mobilised them for an attack elsewhere. But overall, he needs to stop just bludging on the centre. I mean, he's basically sort of falling into a Stalingrad pattern. Granted, CharlieTango isn't particularly being, trying to differentiate itself from Paulus, but at least he's the one defending. And is thusly, obliged to just meet his attack if he wants to attack in a really dumb space, which is basically what Dotsify is doing. Assault gun there being repaired. So 3 Shermans versus 1 Panther, 1 Panzer IV there, Model J, armoured skirts up and everything. And of course the looks. Still no repair pioneers though for CharlieTango and Das Vaterland. He could easily be pushing ahead here, CharlieTango, to be honest, but he seems like he just wants to play it defensive, which is giving Dots more time to just do what he wants, which is a bit risky there for CharlieTango, depending on what Dots proceeds to do. I mean, if he continues just Stalingrad it out there, I mean, obviously CharlieTango's got a pretty good chance, but if Dots pulls off something a bit clever there, he could run in to give CharlieTango some problems. There you go. Sherman up in his own there on the far right flank with no support, no reconnaissance. coming up through the centre there. Arkennov's blasting away. Panther moving in, and actually there's a bit of a tactical area that I think CharlieTango is committing there. There's a risky thing there. Again, Sherman is pulling straight through the centre, knocked out here by the Panther 4. Not the most well-executed assault there at all by Dots. I mean, this is again this way should have mortars. Laid under smoke screen, then moved ahead. Instead, he just went straight ahead into where CharlieTango's most of his guns concentrated. Tactically, not very advisable. Luke's gaining less than 3 pounds. They're taking a few bombardments. Got the Panther moving up. They're going to try and hit the assault gun. Pretty good hit there. Mission 6 returns. Got the P-Traces firing as well. There goes Sherman. That's another good hit there. Sadly missed a few chances to get some hits on the Panther 4, but the assault gun, the Panther 4 quickly gets away. Dots are getting close to be able to call another Sherman. Oh, he loses another Sherman though. I mean, I just... Come on, Dots. Pumes in the need to retreat as well. Definitely some heavy stun going on. Got a satchel charge off there, trying to catch the Germans, but that's not quite working out at all. Coming up there now into tank grenades. They can't actually threaten the Panther 4 either. That was definitely a very fruitless assault there by Dots versus CharlieTango, who's now taking advantage to push up the eastern flank. CharlieTango, they still feel like to be more aggressive here versus Dots, but he's still got a solid position there, so I suppose he's not in any hurry. And I'm certainly not encouraging to try and throw away the Panther. That would be even more silly than what the Dots is doing. But Dots does need to change up the assault patterns. I mean, again, he tends to fall into the trap again. A lot of players do, which again, they just get obsessed with 1 point, and they never quite consider, you know, what happens if I try not to march everything straight into their guns. Panther moving about here to support the 8th and east. There you go, going straight for the Sherman with its high velocity gun. Getting very close to the T2, and that's going to be a bigger problem than for Dots if it hits that. Jaegers are getting blasted by the Shermans. In the west, we got Volksgrenadiers grabbing the point here. HQ6 and being repaired. Going straight for the assault gun. Turning back there, gets penetrating the Panther, but still pretty close there. Another hit there from the Sherman. Only Panther, but can't quite pursue. The cameras they're covering nicely. And this is where Dots basically needs to concentrate from assault and then sort of push ahead. Bit more rasp on the west side. We can see CharlieTango's getting more aggressive versus Dots, knocking out those Shermans there has, I think, emboldened CharlieTango versus his Bolshevik opponent. Good to see that. Looks like he can hit their Shermans, assault goes there, but again, he's still got Arkennov's there. He just keeps going straight for them without fail. He's trying to silence over the assault guns, but his barrages there not going to have enough volume, I think, to sufficiently deter them or even stop them unless he gets really, really lucky. Arkenov, that's actually close to being destroyed, but still needs to decrew it first before it gets destroyed. Those PMs just need to run away. He needs one way there for Dots to repair with his tanks. That's good, though feels a bit late. Assault receiver hit. They're almost getting destroyed by the Arkenov. The Panther now by the Vetri 2 shuts up, adding some more solidity to the Panther. Yeah, we finally got our Schützen, Jürgen. Yeah, now we are slightly less likely to get blown up. Yeah. Fun fact though, they didn't actually do anything to protect the Panther's armor stowage, whereas they actually did that on the Panther 4. As a fun side note, though, for whatever reason, he's not getting them repaired, so the Panther 4 is just sort of waiting there. Apparently, no one likes it. Rather slightly unfortunate state of affairs there for the Panther crew. Again, with the cribbing ahead. I mean, they sort of, to an extent, got equal force, but again, the way Dots is handling it is not frightfully efficient. Which we're giving CharlieTango, I think, some more advantage there versus Dots. Another artillery strike and another fuel drop there for Dots. When they find the guns shattering the area north of the 2 point with copious amounts of high explosive shells. Grab the victory point there. Victory point, a few points, but the victory point's been left on its own. Let's go there for dots and the second guards mechanized corps. Pioneers reinforcing, some being fixed up there. And the Panther 4 is finally ready for the fight here for CharlieTango and the Feldherrnhalle. Dots though continues to scatter his armour. Tank there, assault gun up here. Overall, no real focal point for anything there. So, in that sense, if CharlieTango were to go on the offensive right now, he could easily just crush dots there because again his tanks are just too scattered. But at the same time, the CharlieTango is not concentrating his armour either, and he's not doing anything to really change the situations. In that regard, I do feel like CharlieTango is being overly passive. But he's throwing up there with a light infantry gun for a bit of artillery. Another big push there for dots into the centre, troops into machine guns, the kidnappers, the Panther 4s, and whatnot. This time we shall succeed where every other assault has failed. This time we believe in true victory against the fascist scourge. Oh, this isn't working out. Punching hit there from the assault gun at max range on the Panther, bit lucky there. There goes shots missing or bouncing. You need to be careful those Volksgrenadiers versus Sherman tank, close to veteran 1. Dot slowly assembling resources for a third Sherman. Well, an umpteenth Sherman really. In terms of Shermans, he's got 4 out now. He's at build 4, he's got 2 out. So the next one would technically be his 5th. All in all. There you go. Panther being flanked with a Sherman. This is when he's going to need more armour though to concentrate on hunting down because, I mean, right here the CharlieTango to an extent while he's defending his western fields against the harassment. The problem is the Panzer 4 is actually isolated from the rest of CharlieTango's defences, so if he were to actually hunt it down specifically with a big armoured push, he could probably destroy it without much interference from the rest of CharlieTango's defences. So this is basically what I meant when I said earlier this is a bit of a tactical, I feel like, not good thing. He could very quickly find himself hunted down and destroyed. Looks veteran 4, that's pretty good there for CharlieTango. Panther there, still veteran 2. Not making particularly much progress as veteran 3. And Dot seems completely enamoured with M4C Shermans, refusing to bring anything up on them. Not even an additional assault gun to help us the Panther maybe. And certainly no take up for HE5s. They're damaging the Panther, but still most shots are bounced. Pressure up the centre here from Dots versus CharlieTango. Tank infantry could threaten here the flank, go maybe for the Panther 4 something else, but overall Dots seems to be a very slow mover here versus CharlieTango. Got the Shermans moving up, he was straight to the kidnap, and the Panther overall again, he just keeps doing the same things. And again refuses to concentrate his armour. Again, he's not really making an awful lot of progress. Got artillery firing down in the centre, actually getting like kidnapper for once, but can he actually exploit it? Because now most of his tanks are not in a condition to do so. Jaeger's Panther and 42 to then contest the centre victory point as the kidnapper gets crew down manking by something. A machine gun fire there raking the penal troopers as they're ultimately forced away. Overcome by German determination, and of course a Panther. Slowly approaching there, 9 kills, and very, very slowly approaching veteran 3. Artillery fire there, trying to silence the machine gun. Panther does a better job of that, actually. There we go, much better results there from 97 artillery shots. Penal troopers charging ahead there, carrying their heavy anti-tank rifles through the muck and past the corpses of previous assaults. And there we go, artillery fire raining down there again on the Stalingrad point. As Dots is convinced, eventual efforts will somehow succeed against his opponent. Troops reinforcing, repairing. almost there, another third Sherman. And meanwhile, CharlieTango is more or less at full pop cap, so he can't really go for anything. In fact, he's just setting up there for a potential King Tiger down the road. So when he actually begins suffering some losses, as at some point Dots might get that happening, he's just been able to pluck his all over the King Tiger. That's going to give Dots quite a headache. But we'll have to see how this works out. There you go, another Sherman out there for Dots and the second guard's mechanized corps. Sherman swiftly moving towards the centre there, opening up, almost catching the Jaegers, but never quite landing that final blow. Panther there's a Sherman is still with the Panther supporting. And so good in the Sherman actually needs to fall back. Could actually risk losing it there, which would mean he's back to 2 Shermans again. But no, looks like Lady Luck favours Dots this time around. Tanks getting a move on there as well. Small column from Dots. Maybe setting out there for the Panther 4 to silence it, which is now getting very, very close to fetching 3. Bad news there for Dots in the East Repulse in the East. Apparently forgot there's a machine gun there, because he hasn't bothered dealing with it at all. There's definitely a lot of room, I think, on some elements for Dots. There again, Mortars could be helpful. And overall just flanking. Needs to learn how to flank, to be honest. Looks like something resembling a flank. I mean, now to concentrate his armor, but then he splits it up quickly just to sneak 1 Sherman ahead there instead of sending in at least the other Sherman as well here. For something more impressive on the left flank. Kendall coming up to deal with that. We got Pimps in the east or centre, east being suppressed. And Panther full chance into the assault gun. Got lucky there, shot bounced. To the far then, raining down the centre, 76.2mm high explosive shells, threatening to snuff out the life of any German infantryman caught within his radius. Extremely close to victory. He just needs to sneeze at an enemy, he gets, bloody medal for it. More machine guns on the Shermans, committing to some kind of assault here. Jaegers revealing themselves and getting punished for it. Why did you think rifles could hurt him? Well, we could get lucky. RNG. That's not how it works. Push to the centre there. Looks still containing the enemy there, just but he's using it as pretty much like a bunker at the moment there. It's just not really utilising its speed or anything. And CharlieTango is just utterly defensive, and Dots clearly doesn't know how to deal with a defensive player. He just sort of continues to feed CharlieTango experience, which is really not what Dots should be seeing. You should be seeing swift fights here and there at sort of more points that are sort of far removed from the rest. But again and again, Dots seems very content, somehow hoping again just pushing through the centre will result in an inevitable victory. I mean, he definitely seems to play that perhaps has been relying a bit too much on Lend-Lease tactics and penal troopers rather than actual tactics and strategy, which certainly highlights why these things actually need to be nerfed, because, well, he's not exactly getting particularly clever through just being able to rely on rather powerful penal troopers and emphasis Shermans without actually tackle sort of make any sort of deeper decision making. So it's clear there's a reason for it. When you get players like this, there's usually a reason. And she's got Panther moving against this Sherman there, gaining actually 3 increased rate of fire, increasing bullets there for CharlieTango. Again, I mean, just fix up the Shermans, move down here, swarm, hit this Panther 4, could easily then afterwards take out like Ken, but again, CharlieTango would actually have a hard time immediately supporting the Panther 4, could actually risk losing it in a matter of moments there to Dots' armour. Several penetrating hits, the Sherman going in, lands another hit, they almost got it. And trying to have it there, instead of not trying to distract, at least just gain the line of sight to shoot it, and now the Panther 4 can easily get away there. Again, Dots, not biggest military thinker, it seems. Bit of artillery there, close to wiping out the Volksgrenadiers. Very close. Panther 4 using repairs. No effort again from Dots. Maybe do something here. Again, it's pretty much just Stalingrad syndrome. Again, just overvaluing one spot, despite how tactically feasible it is to just pour every resource in the team, trying to hit everywhere else. It's kind of like Fury Syndrome, which just focuses much on one tank. Instead, Stalingrad Syndrome is just to focus on one point. More hits on the Panther, getting very close to Veteran 4. Cannot be forced back. You can actually easily rush the Panther. He wants to hunt it down. And looks like something's happening. Oh, shot bounce. Keep going for it. Keep going for it. Dots. Oh, another shot. Blitzkrieg. And he just stops pursuing. Meanwhile, Panther moving up here towards the center. Opening up there in the Russians. Bit more pressure there. Finally, something's happening. A bit more action. Still rather Stalingrad syndrome-ish. Need to pull back the assault gun there. At least a bit further safe range. We've got a satchel charge from the Panther. Damages the engine of the Panther. Gates him in the finish gun. Calling another Sherman there. Concussive grenade, and a Sherman goes down to the Panther. Closing in on Veteran 3 there very rapidly. That's going to be really bad news for Dots, by the way. If that Panther hits Veteran 3, that's going to mean a higher rate of fire on a Panther. And that's really bad. For the enemy. For the Germans, that's amazing. For the enemy, that's really bad. Another Sherman. Final repair pioneers. More fuel drops there for Dots. Heavy anti-aircraft fire being leveraged against the aircraft, but it once more makes the past the German lines. Sherman up. He's now going for a flank. Utterly unsupported. No reconnaissance. Trying to... For heaven's sake, Dots. I mean, that was just a complete mess. He should have committed a lot more to any kind of flank like that, but instead he committed just a single tank. Got a kidnapper there. Panther now by really close to Veteran 3. Yeah. Come on, Dots. Get with the Stalinist program. CharlieTango's got the resources of King Tiger. He just needs the pop cap to be freed up, and I think he's just saving up for that. Really, he's not trying to toss away his vehicles. Obviously, he's not an idiot, but at the same time, he's not making any overt movements to sort of actually refilling his pop cap now. He wants that King Tiger. He's probably earned it at this point. Now he's pushing to the center. We've got a heavy machine gun there supporting assault there again. Assault gun slightly creeping hit there. Veteran 3, 16 kills. Manual probes trying to bombard the MD-34 there. 6.2mm high explosive rounds locked through the air, hurtling towards it like really nasty things there. You almost got an MD-34. The cover is shattered, broken. And he's almost there with the King Tiger. And I think he's got the pop cap for it now, more or less. Yep. Königstiger arriving here for CharlieTango, and the Feldherrnhalle finally some schwerer Panzerunterstützung has arrived. And now Dots is in really bad state. Again, he's not taken up for tank destroyers, and he's not been able to build up a sizable armoured force because he's been mishandling it. So with this, CharlieTango now enjoys the definite armoured advantage. He's got a King Tiger, he's got a Panther Veteran 2, he's got a Panzer 4 Veteran 4, and he's got the Lux Veteran 5. I mean, Dots has rather tossed away any chance of victory at this stage. There we go, Panther on the move. No, he doesn't just charge it in blindly, which again is some mistakes some players again like to commit making with the Panther. King Tiger, Panther slowly moving ahead. They need to support with this for the armor. Get the Lux, get the Panther 4 in there as well. Comes up here for the center. King Tiger getting satchel charged. But no damage engine there. Panther moving up as well. They're bouncing shots. There you go. Veteran 3 for the Panther. That means increased rate of fire, increased mobility. Almost got the Sherman. King Tiger lands. Good hit. The Sherman almost in flames. Machine gun crews being slaughtered by the Panther's machine gun fire. Panther arrived. Panther 4 rank support the Panther. There you go. Machine gun crew annihilated. And with this, Dots renders his failure complete. His tank forces unable to resist this onslaught of German superiority. Panthers, Panzer 4s, and of course the mighty King Tiger. Overall here, good lesson again. You know just what to avoid. Again, I've talked a lot about Führer syndrome, which again is just focusing too much on calling in the biggest tank possible, completely neglecting everything there. Then we have Stalingrad syndrome, which is just overly focusing on one point and then neglecting, everything else, other options for attacking. That's basically what Dotzer committed to, full-on Stalingrad syndrome, just utterly pouring in everything, never trying to flank, but also just mishandling his army in the process. I mean, any good series of flanks could have done a lot there versus CharlieTango, good armored push supported, say, by mortar laying down smoke screens. That way, negating CharlieTango's advantage would have been range, Once he got up close with the Shermans, then he would not have been able to deal with the Shermans. Then he would be able to just quickly deal a lot of damage up close, clearing out the Kednevers, and he could then prioritize any tanks. But again, he just persisted in this without any sort of serious smoke support, overall allowing CharlieTango to just slowly build up and crush him. I mean, CharlieTango could have finished this fight faster if he'd just been more aggressive in that regard. CharlieTango do feel was too passive, and had Dots been a more competent Soviet attacker, CharlieTango could, I think, been crushed quite soundly. So there's certainly some room for improvement there in both players. But overall, I would say CharlieTango certainly played better, and he certainly also made good use of his Panther, which tends to be a stumbling block for a lot of Axis players that just tend to, throw away the Panther because they don't seem to know how it works. So overall there, bit of a slower match there, bit of a slower ball, but I still think had some good moments and just some good lessons, which again largely involves don't focus on the center all the time. Remember, there's the rest of the map and just, flank the bastards. Flank them. So, hope you enjoyed this match. I hope you learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, tell a friend, share it with everyone. If not, send in a replay and a feedback in the comment section. This is Imperial Ancient Cheese. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you all tomorrow for another signing episode. Bye.